about that.
Vera just put out her arc. Or is it beta or is it your arc?
It's kind of both. It's like I kind of mashed it into one. I guess if it was an arc, it'd be a little bit more like polished and not a Google Doc. But usually I send those as a PDF, but not this time. I just kind of was like, here, everybody, just grab this, please, and thank you.
Like you're
I
just here.
I'm in the exact same part as that with it. My arc is like basically a beta copy almost at this point.
Yeah, yeah, and like sometimes you just have to like you just mash it all together because there's just not time for all, and I'm just like it's fine.
Yeah.
I've had too much, as my husband would say, I have too much dip on my chip because I've been doing way too much, and I had to just like his little dadism, but I had to like calm down because I was doing too much I'm in grad school too, and it's just too much. So
Yeah.
I'm on a term break. Instead of focusing on that, I wrote the book instead because
Yeah.
because that's what happens when I get stressed.
I have my book that I've been editing that the arc is coming out. I have my work, which I don't do a lot of, thankfully. Not thankfully because I need money, but thankfully because
No,
I'd
well, yeah,
I'd go crazy. And then I also have the indie author bookstore, Pure Tifa. I have a vendor
yeah,
event coming up next week, and I'm doing a live podcast. And then I have like actual life.
yeah, yeah. Nope,
The
I
market
totally get that.
the worst as well. The marketing is just killing me right now. I'm like, I don't want to
Oh
market.
yeah.
I don't want to market.
I was gonna say the extent of my marketing is Blake. It's her posting stuff for me. I'm so bad at it. It's laughable, especially considering how much work I put in, like everyone puts into their stuff. But I just don't have the bandwidth, and I know that's really
Mm-mm.
bad. But I just like it's where I crack for sure because I just don't have the energy.
Hi, everyone. Thank you back to our second episode with Indie Inc. Today, we're going to be speaking with Vera West. She is the author of Plucked, a novel in verse. We talk about
Okay.
all sorts of things. We go through her favorite quotes with her. We talk about, feminism in literature, intersectionality, and how race affects somebody within the writing industry and just within life in general, and how you have to tackle those things. I loved all of our conversations and topics. You guys know already that Blake and I love to go off topic, and we did, but they were great. Like, truly, like, they were worthy conversations to have had. And I love this entire episode and speaking about it.
I'm so excited. I am a little bit of a yapper, so I do apologize. I get so passionate about something, and
Yeah.
then I have to look at a clock and be like, "Whoa, you've been speaking on this like bring it down a little bit." But no, I am also so excited for you guys to get to listen to this. I think that words. I think that it's something that is going to make you look more closely at your own life and things. I think that's one of the things I really liked about this book in general is that you examine yourself more.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. There's a lot of dynamics in this book with like
Mhm.
parental relationships, inner conflict,
Mhm.
success and failure and those things. And the topics are really useful and I love it. So overall, I really enjoyed this book. It was really unique with the
Mhm.
prose and the like poetic style of it. I would give this book a 4 out of 5 stars.
Mhm.
That is simply because I am a fantasy girly like through and through. And so I love the book, but I wanted like a wizard to pop out at some point. Or like a
It's
dragon or something.
it's like the reverse of us. Like last time I was like, I'm giving it this, but that's only because this is not my like typical genre. And now you're
Yes.
like, I'm giving it this because this is not mine. I
Yeah.
am also a fantasy girl, so but my 4 stars comes from something that we talk about in this episode, but like my frustration that I didn't get completion. It had
Yeah.
nothing like it, and I think I that's something that's so important as readers and authors to keep in mind is that sometimes the rating has nothing to do with like how well you wrote the story or anything like that. Sometimes it
No.
just has to do with what the person is looking to gain.
Yep. Personal
And
preference.
I Yeah, I would 100%. I'm not joking. I have gifted this book to people. I recommend it to almost anyone that I know, specifically people who are like, oh, I really want to get back into reading again. I think giving people easy to read books are always like the best way. And to me, this book, especially with it being a novel in verse and how well it like flows, is a book that I could recommend to anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting. It's so unique. And like we said, it's just over 200 pages, so it's super quick to get through. And the pages are short because it's poetry form. So it's only like
Hmm.
3 small paragraphs per page. So it's really easy to get through and it's a fun time. But yeah. Our next author that we're going to be having on it releases December 30th, is
Hmm.
Hypatia Rhodes. Her debut novel is called House of Darkness. It is a
Ooh.
dark gothic fantasy vampire romance book. Yep.
Um, where do I sign up? Oh wait, I signed up. So never mind.
Yep.
I think we just found a genre for that's like gonna be our speed for both of us.
Fantasy, romance, hot vampires. Give it to me.
Count me in. Yeah.
Count me in.
Yeah.
Count me in. Take my blood.
Uh-huh.
Take my blood already. But yeah, so Hypatia Rose is her name, and we'll have her on the episode we'll release December 30th. And if you'd
Mhm.
like to read along with us, we'll be posting on our Substack so that you guys can comment and follow along as we
Mhm.
dive into her book.
Yeah. I'm so excited and highly recommend guys get the book, read the book with us, follow along, support all of the authors, the indie authors that we have on here because we're a unit. We need to support each other and that's how you
Yes.
like affect change.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, well, without further ado, enjoy our episode with Vera West. Thank you.
All right, guys, we are back for another episode of Indie Ink Podcast.
Yay!
And yay! Dance break, dance break. And today we are joined by Vera West. She is the amazing author to I've literally never heard of this before I read your book, but a novel in verse. This book is called Plucked. Um I don't even know what to say. It's such a I've already been vibing with it. I think it's such a good read, but I am so excited. We are so excited to have you here and just
Thank
be
you.
able to talk to you everything about this book and like share our ideas and our thoughts and maybe some frustrations and like why would they have done that kind of thing. So I'm so excited to have you here with us.
Yeah,
Thank
this
you. I'm
book
so
is
happy
really
to be here.
interesting. Yeah, this book is really interesting because it's basically like long form poetry in a sense.
Mhm.
And what's really interesting about this verse style, I've never read a book like it, but I'm sure we've all read poems that are super long, but a novel like this in this format is not only, I feel like, really digestible, but also at some parts it's like complex to the point where you're like, okay, wait, there's a theme here in this specific area. The way you formatted it and done this, I'm like, okay, wait, I gotta go back. I gotta check this again. So it was really interesting to experience that and read through it. But yeah, this is the book that we're going to be talking about today with Vera West here. Um, and she has joined us because Blake has known about her and she was recommended, and Blake said, "Oh, she has a book in verse." I was like, "What is that?" Looked at it and I was like, "Yes, yes, please bring her on. Bring her on right now. We need to talk about this."
Yeah.
My first question. Oh no, I'll let Blake go.
I was just gonna say, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, which it feels like, even though it was probably the beginning of this year, I had put in a request on like social media threads or something because I wanted to start the indie author bookstore and I was looking for authors who wanted to be a part of it. And Vera was the first person to respond to me and was
I
like,
was the
I'm so
first.
in.
Wow.
I think so. And
It
you're
was such a
like,
cool idea, though. It really was.
yeah.
Or
And
is.
it's still yeah, I was supposed to say it's still going, but you were also the first book I accepted to the store as well. So
Well,
I've been so excited and I was like, "Oh my gosh, she like believes in my little indie bookstore dreams. Ugh, I don't know. Like, I mean, we all are indie authors, and we all know that having someone believe in your dreams is probably the best feeling you can ever have.
Yeah.
And you work incredibly hard though, not just for yourself, but for other indies. And that like won me over right away. I mean,
Thank
you
you.
really do. And I appreciate it because I try to be supportive, but I'm not nearly as supportive as you are about your fellow writers. So
I'm
I was
working
like,
on it.
I have to get it. It's hard though. It's so hard to balance
Mhm.
all of it. It really is. But the fact that you really do as much as you do, I'm like, I can at least support you supporting me. I can like I might not be so good at like initiating it or coming up with like ideas of like how I can help, but if I see someone else
Yeah.
doing it and I can help you help everyone else, then that's like I want to do that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Okay, let me read the description of the book. Okay. So this is Plucked, a novel in verse, is the full title of it. When 17-year-old violinist, is it Isa Jones?
Is
Isa? Isa,
mm,
okay. When
hmm
17-year-old violinist Isa Jones is accepted at Everly, a prestigious creative arts prep school, she knows her life is going to change for the better. Raised on welfare by a single mom, how could it not? But before Isa knows it, life is throwing curveballs at her faster and faster, and her hopes and plans begin to spiral out of control. Will she survive to make her dreams come true? Plucked is a novel told in verse. Um, Incredible. My first question is, how in the fuck did you come up with to do a novel in verse? Like where, what, like how?
No, no, seriously though, like so I used to be a violinist in another life, and
What?
I am from Flint originally.
Okay.
And so I pulled a lot from my own personal experiences of like being a black violinist, being from, I didn't have private lessons until I was 18.
Mhm.
So I was literally riding this wave of like raw talent, and then I got into college and I had like to get into college, I had to prep for 2 years training, and then I got into college. And it was just such a hard time in my life that when it didn't work out, it was very devastating because I had put like everything I had into that. And so I think a little bit about this book, although it is fiction. So let me just say that it is fiction, but a lot of the things that had happened to me, I could relate so well to giving that to another character that I kind of had to. And it was almost like a little bit of healing because I felt very bad for a very long time that I did not become a professional violinist. Like it really ate me up. So writing this book was like a way of me kind of like healing from that. And it was very hard for me to write, but like very cathartic at the same time. And ironically, like I never considered myself a poet, but when everything kind of like when the shit hit the fan in college, and I ended up having to pivot really hard because I ended up failing one of my juries, which is like a test that you have to do to pass when you're a performance or education major in music. So I was running out of financial aid. So I had to move fast. And so I ended up doing English, and then I switched to writing because I didn't think I could pass linguistics. There was no time for redo. So I ended up pivoting. But in all that happening, I discovered that I really liked writing poetry, which was nothing that I had ever known about myself before. And even after that, I would write poetry as like a way to like process my own emotions. So I have a few like poetry chat books that are just like me unpacking like so much of like my own stuff. And then this was like the first really like fictional version of that. And so I ended up getting a poetry residency on a whim. Like I found it also through it was Twitter back then, and someone was like, "Hey, you should apply." And I was like, "Okay." And then I got it. And then that was the 2 years that I sort of like built myself up as a poet, which led to me writing Plucked. So I used that platform, wrote Plucked, and it was kind of like a thesis for that 2 years of being their poet in residence. And
Mhm.
then I pitched it to them, and then it got published traditionally by their small press. So yeah, it was kind of crazy because if I hadn't failed at music, then I wouldn't have like it's like the butterfly effect kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where like if I hadn't done that, then none of these other things would have happened. But I'm so happy they did because writing really brings like a lot of joy to me. So I can't imagine not writing, even though I know when I was 8, I couldn't imagine not being a violinist, but like I really couldn't, it's kind of gets it's a good lesson for rolling with it a little bit. But So yeah,
It's
that was
funny that
kind of
you
how it
say
came to
that.
be.
It's funny that you say that because I started like my whole journey to getting to become a writer is kind of crazy. Like I've always loved writing, but I was very into film. So I wanted to be a film editor and I wanted to be a director. And I went to college for that and then that changed and then I went into psychology, which I'm so grateful for because I think that me studying psychology helps me to make better characters.
Well, for sure.
Um, but I've had to pivot so many times and so many dreams and things that I thought I wanted to do,
Yeah,
and, like, landing on podcasting and being able to write books and tell my stories, those are things that I really love, and then I get to use some of the things that I learned in the past in my life now. Like, some of the reasons why I'm always on TikTok and I'm always making videos and I have that is because I learned how to traditionally edit and a long, long time ago in a galaxy far away. And,
yeah,
there's this thought process that people hold on to what they think their life is supposed to be like.
yep.
And then but when you let that go, your life can actually become what it's supposed to be.
Definitely. And I can still be like, I don't need to have a degree in music to play in a community orchestra or to do all those things. But for some reason, maybe it's just the way, like, I was brought up or just the way the world was brought up. For I don't want to age myself, but for us, like 80s and 90s babies, like you were supposed to do X in order and you were supposed to be so
Yeah.
decisive. You didn't really get a chance to feel anything out. And honestly, I didn't see myself as anything other than a musician. So even though
Mhm.
I love to read and people had mentioned that they liked my writing, I never even considered myself a writer. Like it didn't even dawn on me that I could do that because in my mind, I was a musician and that was it. So once
Yeah.
I kind of let go of that, like a lot of things changed for the better, I think. You can always go back to those things. There's nothing stopping you from writing a script now, you know? You could totally do that.
Yeah.
But I don't know
I
why we
have
get so like in a ridge and we think we have to do.
Yeah, I honestly was having that conversation with my mom, but for me, I'm very happy using my, like, editing and directing skills to make TikTok videos and Instagram stuff, and, like, I my biggest thing was that when you get into like, this is one of the reasons why I tell people I don't ever want to be trad published. Like, I have no desire, and I know that that's the dream of some authors or some indie authors. I don't mind my book being picked up and, like,
Right.
published through, like, I know some indie authors who that has happened to them and their book will get picked up and then more trad publishers will reproduce it. I'm totally okay with that, but I like the freedom and the control to just have my creativity and that be that, and not have to feed into some game or feed into some you gotta have a cliffhanger at the end of your book because if
Right.
you don't have a cliffhanger, no one's gonna read it, and this character can't be and talk this I wanna be able to let my creativity be mine and not have it monitored so that for reasons why people think it'll just make more money, you know?
Oh, 100%. It was just a happy well, I mean, like, it's hard because I'm not gonna lie, the fact that that got picked up by a small press definitely, like, legitimized me in a lot of people's
Mhm,
eyes, and it's been the only book that I've been able to get into Barnes& and Noble because it was traditional, but even that was,
mhm.
like, such an uphill battle. It took, like, 2 years, and it's like they have 3 copies on 1 shelf in 1 store in Michigan, like, so it's not this, like, be all end all. And to what you're saying, like the creativity being squashed, like that is just unacceptable for me. So part of why it worked was because they already loved me as their poet in residence, and so they already knew I was kind of like quirky, and and so they accepted that. But like if they had been a bigger press, I mean, how the hell would you even market it? How would you market it? It's so niche, and like nobody would want it, even though I think it's good, and I'm very proud of it. But like poetry is such a small shelf anyway, and then to make it even smaller by having like this like little extra like nicheness like I did actually try with my next one to I entered it into a contest and it did make it, but I was like, you know what, that's okay because I'm 100% on board with publishing my own work like I've always done.
Mhm.
That's fine with me, and actually I kind of prefer it because I want creative freedom too. um ironically enough, I had to fight for my cover art a little bit because I did it myself and the publisher wasn't really he didn't like it. He wanted a professional to do it. But I was like, "No, this is it, fam." I was like, "This is it. This is the cover that we need." So
You did this by yourself?
Yes.
I did, yeah.
This is gorgeous.
I used Canva and I mixed a lot of different elements. Like I would take small elements and put them into into one. But like you like the little details of the music notes in the clouds, like it
Yeah.
had to be. It had to be. Yeah. But he
It's
he I know he was not happy. He,
I
he
love your cover.
thank you. No, and I fought for it because I was like, the publishing deal I had with them was a hybrid. I was responsible to cover like if there was an editorial fee, I was responsible for that. Or like if there would be
Mhm.
the cover artist, I'd be responsible for that. But like the royalties, it was very I think it's because it was an indie press. They had no desire for any royalty at all, so I kept full royalties. But with that, they needed help covering like they couldn't cover all the costs. So it was very similar to like self-publishing, but just with almost like somebody else, kind of overviewing what you've done and you having people to bounce ideas off of. But I had to fight for the cover because I was like, nope, this is it. I was like, there isn't another cover. They tried to argue for a chicken on the front. I was like, it doesn't need to have a chicken. I'm like,
Oh, because
no,
Plucked. Because
because
the
they immediately were like plucked. They're like, oh, there should be a chicken. I was like, no, sir. Anything with feathers can be plucked. So we'll stick with our
Yeah.
bird.
like
Yeah.
that's
Not a
a
chicken.
literal yeah, it's very
That's
literal.
like the most ungraceful bird, by the way, and this is such like a graceful book. And
I know, and then it's just I'm like, no, it's got to be this cover or nothing. And I think the fact that I do all my cover art, and I get so attached to the idea of the cover that I can't see the piece without it. Like I can't. And
Yeah.
usually I make the cover before I even writ. I made that cover prior to even writing the book. So it's so ingrained for me that I'm like, it's got to be this or nothing. Like I just can't.
I'm very similar like that. I not the book that I have coming out soon, but one that is literally still in works. I have the cover for it already done. Like, and I did it myself as well. And I've actually done I've also done all of my covers. I did
Yeah,
have
your covers are great too.
thank you. I'm not gonna pretend like I didn't have a little help from a robot for a like image.
Hey, it's hard out here,
Uh,
okay? We're
but
doing the
like
best we can.
the design that I have, like you kind of said, like little intricate details that I have where my words are falling, how my words I can't even tell you how many times I've played with so many different fonts
Hmm.
to to just have the like right one. But I think that's so amazing and I love that you fought for it, you know? You're like, "Hey, no, this is attached to the story. This is gonna be what it is." And that's kind of, I'm always open for pushback on the things that I like my
Yeah,
books, my words, my covers. I actually show my covers to my coworkers and my regulars at the bar.
yeah.
And they give me feedback, and I'm like, and sometimes I'm like, no, it's gonna stay this way. But other times I'm like, okay, that changed. I could try that and see how I feel about it. But like keeping the creative process to yourself is something that I find that I love. But I know that we were going to get into some quotes.
yes.
Yeah, we kind of like diverted a little bit.
All right.
Do you have any quotes? Luke? I have to find mine. Okay.
I do. So I have the physical copy one because I sell them. But when I originally read it, I read it on my Kindle. I have my Kindle Scribe at home, because I like my Kindle Scribe to be like a home thing, and then I just take my iPad or whatever. But I do have some. I very much related to some of the like parental struggle that this character has. The first one I literally it's on like page 11. And it was sometimes parents are the way they are because their parents were the way they were. And I
Yeah.
just really love that. That's like a very healing thought to me.
That makes me really happy to hear because I feel like my family doesn't read my books, which is whatever. It's fine. Well, let me take that back. My in-laws read my books and my friends read my books and my friends are definitely my family. But like my
Mhm.
parents, they don't. My mother passed away a long time ago, so She doesn't obviously, but then my father doesn't either, and I don't think my siblings do, other than maybe like one. But if they ever did, I would hope, especially if my dad ever read it, I would hope he would read that and he would understand that like you can talk about things that hurt you, but that I understand, yeah, but that I understand like why he is the way he is, or like, and I think that's a really important sentiment. I want them to understand that they're going to see similarities between, even though it's fiction, but
Hmm.
I felt like it's just such a true thing that you want them to understand that although I don't like our past or like the things that have gone down, but I understand why those things happen. And I don't blame you, even though I don't want to be present in that with you. Like, but I understand, and I hope that like people would read that and it would kind of resonate, that it's
Hmm.
not so much of a critique as just like kind of just understanding why things kind of happen and that people aren't perfect and that I'm not perfect either, but
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
like,
It's a very humanizing the way that I mean the way that you talk about like parents in this book, and it's very humanizing. I think it's super easy it's super easy to fall into the, for lack of a better word, of where people are just like these flat characters that they've done something wrong, so therefore this is a bad person. But the way that like you talk about, you're like, this is bad, this is good, whatever. But here's how I understand it. Then I also a human, a person, and I can understand it. Doesn't make it good or bad, but it's like I can understand it and I can explain it to you. Was really like nice throughout the book. It was really like, yeah, I just really liked how it felt personal. It felt like she was an
you.
actual human being that can exist in this world and the levels of it that occurred.
Okay, random
I really
question. Did
like the
it?
gray,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I feel
Did
like
it?
characters should all be gray, you know?
Hmm. No, I first of all, I love me a morally gray person.
I know it's so bad.
I'm just, and me and my mom were having this conversation about it, about how certain people see in black and white and they just can't see the like other colors or the other shadings of things. And I love the gray. I love existing and knowing that like not everything has to be one way or another. Everything is woven and complicated, and in that woven and complicatedness, they were really beautiful.
Yeah. I think it's the most honest, actually.
Yeah.
The gray area, I think it's the most honest and like, and it's the most real because people are complex and like they're not, um, I don't know, like I would joke that perfection is my favorite delusion, which it kind of is. Like I'm a recovering perfectionist,
Me
probably
too.
for like the rest of my life. But like I really like this idea of like this gray area where you're kind of allowed to like grow and make mistakes and change. Like maybe something 10 years ago was acceptable to you, but then you changed and it's no longer acceptable and you're allowed that space. So I
Yeah.
try to bring that to my characters too because they're not perfect and they should feel real. Like I want them to feel real. Like they could be any of us, but the hard part in that is it takes a level of like vulnerability from me because in order to like write that way, I have to admit things about myself, and be willing to like explore that in order to like have that translate on the page. And that's a little bit hard, but
Yeah.
worth it, I think.
First one that it has. It's from page 97. She didn't care about me, just the music, as if her investment in me amplified her expectations, as if not meeting them was a poor return on her educational dividend. That as an academia girly who's like been in school for so long and whatnot, that guilt tripping right there, that feeling, oh man, that hits hard.
It is. It's tough. I think it applies to anything too. Like if you feel like well, of course you feel like your parents have invested in you. And then if they feel like you're not making good on that, like, oh my God, like even if it's just as simple as you like pivoting or changing your mind, like it's so hard. It's hard to like stay true to yourself and your true north and do what you need to do because you don't want them to be upset with you and you don't want to let them down, but like sometimes like things just change. So
Hmm.
it's just, yeah, that speaks to me too.
Yeah, I read
Huh.
that and I was like, okay, stop calling me out. That's rude.
It's all me. That's what I forget is I'm like, well, I was like, oh, there's gonna be quotes. I'm like, all right, we're having therapy for Vera. It's okay. I need it.
Uh,
It's fine.
okay, mine was I was an avid believer that when someone was deliberately being an ass, it was your duty to ignore them.
Because they feed off of it, don't they?
Yeah.
Though they feed off of it, and I
Yeah.
can't stand. Like, it took me such a long time to realize that, like, people really do feed off reactions, and I'm not saying I can't. I am very reactive, like, I can't help it, but, like, if I kn if I know it and I see like, I'll try. I'll try to, like, just be like, "No, I'm not giving you what you want. No, not today. Maybe next
Yeah,
week, but
like
not today."
you're not getting it. I love that. I've been
So hard,
working on
though.
that myself. It is.
I realized, this actually recently, that I am very much like I will match people's energy for better or for worse. I will match their energy. And like, I don't always want to do that, but I don't know. It's going to take a while to not do that because usually I'm around people who build me up. But then if that's how you are and you match someone's energy, if it's the other way and they're trying to tear you down, I'm like, I'm in the dirt with them. So I'm like, that's not good for me. But
Mhm.
it's hard not to if you're genuinely like that kind of like you just and I'm sure it's like a little bit of just like a trauma response where like I'm very fight and not flight. And
Mhm.
then if you're
Gotcha.
gonna come at me, then I'll meet you. And I'm like, I gotta not do that because that's just not good for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm that way too. I'm very fight versus flight when it comes. If
Oh, it's so
someone
bad because
who someone's gonna come at me, it's like, oh,
yeah,
okay,
I'll
just like
meet you
sure,
there.
I
We'll
could
sit
be
down. Let's have
meaner.
tea. Let's sit
I
down,
will
have
be
some coffee,
meaner.
have some snacks. Let's go. That's so bad. And I'm like, I don't want like, and the thing that happened recently, like I got so worked up that like I saw like a different side of myself that I wouldn't normally, that I've never seen before, and it like shook me into reality. And I was like, wow, I let this person take me there. And I'm like, I
Mhm.
can't do that because that's not good for me because now I'm stuck feeling like I overreacted and I let you bait me into it. And I'm like, that did not feel good. So
Yeah. I'm a little bit of both. My mom has always told me like she can watch me choose violence, right? So I'm 9 times out of 10
it's so true though.
as a Sagittarius, 9 times out of 10 I'm honoring my peace over bullshit, right? So I'm a very sit back and watch kind of person, and you may do things to me and I may not say anything about them at all. But guess what? Ooh, once you hit a note,
Yeah.
then it's like it's a like I'm a very forgiving and very understanding person, but if you hit the right button, you better run. Because the problem with me is that I'm watching everything.
Yeah.
Like I'm always watching everything, and I'm like highly sensitive and also highly logical. That is not a good combo. So when you get me pissed off, you like it's you know how some people just get pissed off and say whatever and they
Yeah.
don't think about the consequences? I know what my consequences are going to be and I give
Same.
no shits. And
Just
that's
for the
why
jugular. If it's crossed the line, I
Oh yeah,
will.
it's bad. I'm very literal too, and so like
Mhm.
I don't respond well to posturing. So like
Mm.
if you're gonna use that bravado, you better be ready to back it up. Like and so I don't know if it's where I grew up because I grew up in Flint. Like I grew up in an area where you
Yeah.
did not posture. You made good on everything. So like I don't. I never was someone who would start stuff, but like in that kind of an environment, like you have to be ready to finish it. I realize I'm not in that environment anymore, but like I don't know. There's just something in my core, like where I just really, I have a hard time, like not rising to the occasion. I told someone, I'm like Batman. I'm like, if you ring for me, I will come. Okay. Like if you put that banner in the sky and you're trying to come for me, I will come. Like you summoned me. Here I am. Obviously, like that's, I gotta work on that. But like I hadn't been tested in a while. And that thing that happened to me a couple weeks ago, I was like, okay, we still have work to do because apparently I will answer that call.
Anytime
So
is I'm no, go ahead. Yeah, go for it.
You're done.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, sorry. Okay, the next quote I have is actually hilarious because Blake literally just did the action of how I pictured this before, and I just highlighted it because it's funny. I'm internally gasped, clutching figurative pearls. I just thought that was so funny. Yeah. I just thought that
That's
was a funny
my
quote.
that's my everyday like
Yeah,
what?
yeah, I have to
literally.
watch my eyes because I work in like a very corporate world and I have to like everyone's on camera and my eyes will give me away. And you can tell when I'm clutching pearls because I'm like, oh, like she did. I'm like, what? I like literally get taken back. I'm like, she said what?
Like
So
she said, who?
she said, I hope this email finds you well. What? Like I am very, yeah.
The funny one right after that, because I always like to
Hmm.
include some funny ones with the serious
I'm
ones.
glad you guys think I'm funny because that's like the biggest fear of someone who wants to be funny is like, what if none of the jokes land? Like it's my nightmare. None of them hit.
So I don't know if this one was on purpose, but I thought it was so hilarious that this was in a poem, and I had to highlight it. Realized we were still holding hands, palms sweaty, arms weak and heavy, and thought I hadn't eaten anybody's mom's spaghetti.
I
Yeah.
remember that part.
It's so good. When I was reading that, I was just like, the fact that she just threw that into this book is hilarious.
It's
Oh
such
my
a
God.
Michigan thing to do, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
It
It really is.
no, so funny though. I was on this topic. Me and my mom were playing, like, I came home from work and I was very, like, emotionally exhausted, overwhelmed, and I was like, I don't want to go in my room, but I don't want to watch anything that's like really heavy. Like, I just want to have chill. We ended up playing like YouTube trivia games about guessing the next lyric or what's the theme, guess the theme song or guess the TV show from this theme song or whatever. And they kept playing Lose Yourself. But I got pissed off because it would be like they would play the chorus, and I was like, "No, mom, that's not the part that you wanna test people on." Like, if you are a true Lose Yourself fan, you know that whole first verse, like, especially the first part,
Yeah.
by heart, forever in life. Then I made her play the song and rap the whole part, and she was just like, "What is wrong with you?" I was like, "I don't know if you know this, but this is actually an inspirational song, and just no one knows it."
It is. And it's actually like one of my hype songs. So like whenever I would get like I was nervous about like a chap or really anything, but like the one that yeah, it just hypes me up. It really does. Like anytime I'm like feeling insecure about my writing or like I don't know. I'm like you got to get out there and try.
No. It was, I remember that, and I was just like I read it. I was, like,
It's
sitting in
probably
the
a little
chair.
unexpected too.
It was so unexpected, but
It's
my
like,
problem is that, like, where did this come from? But I'm such a, like, I think the word is, like, echolalia or whatever, so then I hear it, then I go, "It's vomit on the sweater already, mom spaghetti, he's nervous, but on the surface he looks calm and ready to draw." Like, I just, like, finished it, and I thought it was the cutest, like, addition to a book ever.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
do you have
Um,
another clip?
okay, I have one last one, and it was, "We're far more than the sum of our parents' expectations and disappointments included." And I was like, "How dare you?" Like, how legitimately, how fucking dare you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like me calling myself out too. Like it's hard. It really is. But I think it
Mhm.
is important to push past that. You know, you gotta have your dreams for yourself. Like your parents want stuff for you, but like you gotta reach further than that,
Yeah, like,
even if they
you
don't
you know,
understand it.
I'm
And
very
know that you're
similar.
worth more than, you know, I had a very critical kind of upbringing where like nothing ever felt
Me
like it
too.
was good enough. And
Mhm.
and I think that in their mind, I think my mom probably thought she was like preparing me for the world or like toughening me up. But in
Yeah.
reality, it just made me doubt like everything all the time. So I think that that's kind of a good thing to remember, you know, is that you are more than you can dream bigger than what they dreamed up for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even if you
I
don't do what they expect, you're incredibly valuable as a person.
yeah. I feel very similar, so my situation's a little even worse. And I don't know if that's the reason why I try to be so supportive of other people. But like my mom has my books, but she won't read them and she keeps saying like, "I'm just gonna wait for you to get an audiobook." And I'm like, "Do you know how much that costs?"
Yeah.
So she's never read
Mm.
any of my books. My father's never read any of my books. My brother's never read any of my books. My friends have never read any of my books. Even
Really? I'm
like
surprised about the friends.
I have 1 friend who's read one of my books. I'm trying not to be emotional. Ignore me. My dose got upped on Lexapro. My sole community for my authors and like for like me as an author is only on social media. Like my friends will show up. Like I don't want to discredit that. My friends will show up to my events and they'll buy my books, which I so wholeheartedly appreciate, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But none of them even, I don't want to toot my horn. I think I'm a pretty good writer. I've been like, even though I got into this later on in my life, I've been writing my whole life, but none of them know that, you know? Like, not a single person who is in my inner circle knows how good of a writer I am. They don't know what my stories are about. They don't know how I try to make them very healing. Like they don't know any of that. So like I fully, and I've also had to come to peace with that, you know? A part of it is that they aren't readers.
Yeah.
I just don't have
I was gonna
I don't have
say,
a
I was that was what I was gonna say. I was gonna ask if they maybe aren't readers.
a lot of them aren't. Um and that's, a part of it, but a lot of my community has had to come from TikTok and social media for my books specifically. Um and there are some of my friends who are readers, but it's hard, like talking about the pressures of your parents and their expectations and their disappointments. When you do something in your life, you highlight the moments that other people aren't doing. And that's not your intention ever in life. But you following your dream can sometimes grate on people that there's something that they want to do and they're not doing it. And like
Yeah.
them supporting you out and I'm not saying any of my friends are doing this. I'm just saying like in general, them supporting you out further makes them uncomfortable.
That's 100% true. I mean, I've experienced that. And I've had some people be like, "Well, why don't you slow down?" And I'm like, "For what? To die and not have done what I wanted to do? Like, no, thank you. I will continue at my own pace." Like,
My best friend who has just recently passed away, I have been having like really serious money issues and now I'm living back with my mom or whatever. But I'm doing that because I know in my heart that all of this is going to lead to something. And, she was very much like, why don't you just take a break from writing and just focus on getting, like a normal job and everything like that? And I was like, you don't know me if you think that that is what I could do. And I've had so many people be like, give up, not like give up forever, but just like take a break. And I want to look at
yeah.
them and be like, you took a break. And how's that going? Like, I don't want to be mean about it, but like, you took a
I'm
break.
scared
How's
to
that going for
death
you?
about taking a break, to be honest. Like, I can't, like, that sounds like, I don't know. Like, it scares me, the idea that I would not come back if you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then I would be so unhappy. And then, like, yeah. So
Like,
I
this is
understand that.
my outlet. Yeah. And so I love that quote. I'm being long-winded and I apologize. I love that quote because we live our lives in the assumptions of our successes and our failures and other people, and having to separate ourselves from that is how we like actually get to truly be who we are. But you do have to remind yourself that the good things that you've done, the bad things that you've done, the way that people are going to view you based on those things aren't actually who you are. They're just the perception of who you are.
Yeah.
And you don't have to live by that. I mean, like, you have to be conscious of it because sometimes you need to check yourself, but you don't have to live by that assumption. And I think that one of the beautiful things that is in the story, and it's been out for a while, so I'm going to give spoilers, but one of the things that is beautiful in the story is the part where you kind of explore your leaving being a violinist to write and how that character is a goes through that and how she learns that she doesn't have to stay in one lane
Right.
or she doesn't have to be this person who she thought she was originally. She can just be
Whomever she,
whomever.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think it was important too for her to have like a partner that got that,
Mhm.
because I think that's like a really strong thing. And not that necessarily that her and Apollo, like, well, in my mind, I'm very much a happily ever after kind of person. So like, I'm like, they're gonna be together whatever. But like, not that that necessarily is the case, but like, just the fact that he like really saw her, that is like in all my books, whenever I write like any kind of like romance or partnership, that is being seen by your partner and like really understood and then accepted for like the full package, whether it's like good or bad. That is like so
Mhm.
important. And I think that
Yeah.
that like friend within like a lover thing is so like it has to happen
Yeah.
if it's gonna happen.
I
But
have one last quote, which fits into already what we're talking about, and this one's a little long. This is from page 116. I couldn't stop thinking about writing. I'd even dreamed about it the night before. I had a more fancy smoking haze where my fingers plucked away on a mechanical keyboard, so sure of each word and the next after it that I couldn't make a mistake. I bled onto the page, really giving everything, and for once it was enough. I'm not gonna lie, I shed some tears at that. Because, I mean, we're all writers, and like you putting that
yeah,
on the page there to say, I bled freely onto the page, which really is what it feels like when you're writing a book. It feels like you're
Mhm.
cutting yourself open and just like laying it all out there, even if it's fiction, especially when it's fiction, I think, because we
yeah,
get more leeway to do those types of things. And that ending right there to say, and for once it was enough, was like, oh, I get emotional thinking about it now. Because I read that and I was like, in the middle of the night, I was reading that on my Kindle, and I'm like, ah, stop it. Oh my God, it just makes me want to get up and write. Like, this makes me want to grab my laptop and start
yeah.
writing right now. It was such a great quote and just like really, it really
Thank you.
explained the love of being vulnerable through written language.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think it's the easiest way for me to be vulnerable, honestly. Oh, okay, it's
Me
not
too.
easy, but like it's like the way I'm able to do it, I think most like effectively, because like it's so hard to like be like that day to day or like at a job or like I don't even think I could handle that emotionally personally, but when it comes to writing, it really feels like that's my avenue to like be incredibly authentic without worrying
Mhm.
about what someone is going to say or think. And I definitely need like I need a lot of validation like internally, or at least I mean, I get it, but like I think we all need a lot of validation when we're creative souls, especially because you're just
Mhm.
like you don't know if people are going to like this book. You don't know really if what you're writing is good. And so it's so scary. And so to be able to kind of let go of that and to just to write and then to be satisfied with it regardless of what anyone else thinks is really like that's a great feeling. And I
Mhm.
think it's why we
Mhm.
create. Like it's you know that
Yeah,
self-validation of just being like I did this. It's good for me. It doesn't matter what comes after. That's like really freeing.
so
Yeah.
true. And you know, I've had people leave reviews on books of mine and stuff saying like, um, I think the author should do this. I think the author should do this next time. And we're not listening to. Well, maybe there's some are, but we're not listening to on purpose because we wrote the book for ourselves. The readers who
Mm-hmm.
pick it up will either feel a connection to it or they won't, but we're writing the book for ourselves. If you're writing a book for other people to approve of it, you're never going to win. You're
You
never going to
won't.
win.
You're so right. And honestly, like that's why I don't believe in writing to market. Miss me
Yeah,
with
Mhm.
that. Like I do not
yeah.
believe in that. Like I have some friends who are all about writing to market and you know and like I'm not trying to like rain on their parade, but personally like if I can't write what I need to write, there is no point for me. So I'm definitely writing for myself. And I know the readers will take it and then it becomes a whole nother thing for them, which is fine, but at least in the creation of it, it's 100% for me. So,
Yeah, that was a beautiful quote. But yeah, okay. So overall thoughts that I had for the book. I am not a musically inclined person whatsoever. I don't think I don't think an ounce of me exists within being musically inclined. So reading this and the way that you describe like the scenes with the music and the violin, the prose that you're using within this poetic stance is really interesting for me because yeah, I took that as writing for me. I'm like, okay, I can relate to that creativity with writing. The way you're describing this, the feeling you get while you're doing it, the how everything shuts off around you while you're doing that, how it's like something you're creating and you have a tangible effect of it was really cool, the way that you explored those themes. I also just thought some of your dialogue was just really fun. Like it was just like, oh, I like this. I'm smiling at this. This is fun. I'm having a good time. Um, and it's 100, oh no, it's like 200 something pages. Is it 200
I'm gonna have to
pages?
check.
A
So
little
it's,
over 200, I think.
yeah,
240
okay,
and
240. And
physical copy.
okay, or it did not feel like 240 pages. It went by so quick.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so, just like we said, such an interesting concept. And it was so cool to experience that. And I also just think it's a really beautiful story with all of these, like, it, you weren't trying to push like an agenda, like, here's the message I want to give you, and you're going to take it. It was like, just, here's this experience, and there's these
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
messages that you'll see and read about, which I really enjoyed.
Thank you. One of my favorite, I don't know why this thing keeps popping in my head, but when we're talking about like the more playful moments or when there or moments that were just fun to write, I love the
Mm-hmm.
one where she's crunching up the Doritos. Or maybe he's crunching up the Doritos and they're like having
Mm-hmm.
walking tacos and she's just like shoveling food. Like stuff like that
Yes.
is so fun to
Yeah.
write. And I don't feel like you see a lot of that because maybe, maybe there's just a lot of pressure when you're traditionally published to be like posh and polished and like so like unaccessible, but like, yeah, I don't know. Just stuff like that was really fun for me to write, especially to balance the more serious moments.
Yeah.
With it. Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I just liked, and this is coming from my own lived perspectives. I like how one of the things that you focused on was living in a world where you don't really fit in because you're not enough of one thing or another. And I think that human beings in general can relate to that, but it isn't something that's, sometimes is explored in movies, but being African American or being half white, half black, or like for me, I'm kind of a little bit of everything. And me and my mom have been having this conversation recently about how I'm technically like a first generation because my mom was born and raised in St. Thomas. And she lives here, and like the way that she raised me. And my dad's from Michigan, so the way that she raised me was different, and like it didn't correlate until I went, and I used to go all the time, but like until I lived in St. Thomas to fully understand. And there is this confusion specifically when you're like half black and half white of like, where do you fit in? Where do you belong? What side do you take? What people do you lean on? Um, and that's just something that's not often, and it's not often talked about in books, specifically because people of color, women of color, women in general, our stories aren't being pushed out unless they're
Or the
romantic.
stories that they are this very like small, um,
Yeah,
yeah,
like
some
right now, I am a romance writer, so I'm not gonna knock the romance genre. I love a romance
me
genre,
neither, never.
but that is like the sphere that people put women in, and sometimes like as a sci-fi dystopian writer as well, like it's frustrating because it's like, yeah, I have romance in here, but there's also this well-developed like story and these characters that I've poured so much into and complexities. Um and those stories just don't get pushed out. Like complex women stories don't get
Yeah.
pushed out enough to me in general, regardless of what color you are, period. You're right. It's very like, everything, especially in trad publishing, is very much about what's the word I'm looking for? How like relatable that they can be, but it's also following in a trope, right? So even the
Mm-hmm.
girls and the boys, they have to be, it's like grumpy or sunshine or, you know,
Right.
enemy to lovers and all of these things. And you don't really sometimes get this complex creation of people that exists outside of tropes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I write romance as well. And it's funny because for a long time I only really viewed myself as like a novelist. And then but now I've kind of like I'm like in this weird hybrid thing. I really think that the novels and verse is like a good blend of like both of the things that I love from prose and from poetry. But when
Mhm.
I in my romance, I always and sometimes people have classified it more as like chick lit, I guess, because it has more of the like relationships between like everyone, like the
Mhm.
friends and your family and like consequences, when you let those people down and like everything has to get resolved in my books. But I think that like that more of a complex view of romance and how it affects like all aspects of your life. Like
Mhm.
one of the books I wrote, it's about a woman who catches her fiance cheating right before her wedding. And so then his solution, and this isn't really a spoiler because it's like the premise of the book, but his solution was for her to go have a turn and also cheat. And then they would like call it good and get married still. As it was an accident and he felt like if you just have a turn also, then we could just wipe the board clean. And
We'll
that
even the score.
Right, and she's just like, "What?" But then ironically, like, she runs kind of, like, away from all of it and ends up just driving and lands in this little small town, and she does end up falling for somebody there. And so part of, like, the rest of the book is, like, the consequences of that. So, like, yes,
Mhm.
she's found this person, but her family is like, "What the hell?" And I show that, like, everyone's disappointed with her, she's grappling with, like, feeling like, you know, some kind of way about what she's done too, because she did totally just be engaged to somebody and then go sleep, like, and so she's just like, her mom's like, I didn't raise you like that. And she's just like, wow, and so it's like very, but I love to show those relationships. And I don't think there's a lot of room for that in like a normal romance book because that's not what you're there for. You're there for just the relationship. But I feel like romance is so much more than just that. Like it can be. And I love smut, so don't get me wrong, but like I just want a little bit more. I think that's why I like
Mhm.
romanticy so much is because the world building can be so good and the
Yeah.
characters can be
Yeah.
so good, but you still have like the romantic element. But I just need more. I need like I want to know. I want to know what they had for breakfast. I want to know what kind of socks they have on. Like I need more.
Mm. My main series is far more focused on like depression, PTSD, and the inner turmoil, and then there is romance in it as well. But my books do not sell nearly as much as people who focus more on the romance aspect of it.
Mhm.
It's because it's gotten to a point where it feels like women's stories are now being valued in the scope of how close they are to a man.
Yeah.
Is the main character close to a man? Do I get to read about her flirting with a man? Automatic buy. If it's focused on a woman and her struggles, and the man is just this like side piece, it doesn't get focused on nearly as much. And I've seen this time and time again with a ton of authors. And then like
Mhm.
you add in all of these other like intersectionality things with it, that's just like the scope gets narrower and narrower and narrower for the people who will read your book, which is just so it is so unfair and ridiculous, and I feel like we like to claim lately as a society that we have a lot of women-centered stories, and I love
Mhm.
romance. I love smut. I love romance. But I don't necessarily think that's true. I think we are still centering men within stories about women to an extent, right? Um, and I think there needs to be a healthier percentage. I think like there needs to be a higher percentage where we can look at a female character and see them as a whole scope, and then we
Mhm.
can also see the love interest there as well, and not something that is directly attached to who they are. Does that make sense?
No, I literally wrote a blog about this or something similar, and it was about female-driven characters and traditionally seen male genres and how those movies don't ever seem to be perceived well and are rated lower. So I was talking like I was using the Marvel arc as one of the things. And Captain Marvel is one of Captain Marvel is a brilliant movie to me. Like as a woman. You know what I mean? It she it's not really I mean it's adjacent, she's adjacent to a man but not in a romantic way. The man like takes control of her and is trying to limit her and push her down, but she doesn't have a romantic interest in this story. It's really about her and her struggles and her overcoming her belief that she's not good enough and she needs to be better, and it is constantly rated lower and lower. And even with Black Panther 2, um, Black Panther 2 is a beautiful I mean, like,
Oh, I
the the
loved it. Yeah.
the screenwriting, the storytelling, the, like, playing on the fact that um 2 different groups of people who have been kind of, like, pushed down, are fighting against each other simply because they're like, I don't want to be the worst one. You know what I mean? And like exploring that dynamic. But again, people really didn't like that movie that much because she didn't have a love interest. The guy that, she was
Wild to
pairing
me.
with.
I've been a fan of Shuri for like so long. And so I'm like, how could you not like her?
She's
She's
a
smart, she's independent,
genius.
she's like literally
She's
like a
so
genius.
badass. Yes.
It's
Yeah.
I mean, even if you look at a character that's well established like Black Widow, and with Black Widow, people don't like that movie either, and it's like that movie is jammed packed with action and amazing fighting scenes and humor and wit, and once again, she doesn't have a love interest, which is, strange because in the originals and like the Avengers, her love interest was obviously the Hulk, but she doesn't have a love interest in the movie. That, once again, it's I called it like feminist piece of art, and people will consistently rate that lower than they will art that where it's, oh, I love this guy. Even if the person that loves the guy is a feminist themselves, as long as they have a love interest and it is a guy and everything like that, they're loving it. Sailor Moon. I mean, Sailor Moon is one of the ones that has done it, but the problem is that she's so adjacent to men that people ignore the fact that she's super independent. And I have this argument with people all the time, and they're like, Tuxedo Mask does literally nothing the entire series. And I was like, that's the point. Like, what do you mean? I was like, the point is that she has the power to do it on her own.
Right.
And he is just there to support her and be like, you got this, babe. And if you need me, I got your back. But like, this is you. And people just don't get that.
Yeah. But yeah, so we've had a lot of conversations and I love it. All the topics we talked about. But truly I did really enjoy the book though. I think everyone should read it.
Yeah.
It's so unique. The
Mhm.
style of it, the writing, the way you eased us into the heartbreak and growing and growth and stuff was really beautifully done, and I really enjoyed it.
Mhm.
It is available on Kindle, on Amazon, and Barnes and Noble. If you want to go find in person at the Barnes and Noble, go find the 3 copies in Michigan.
And through me, you can.
Yes.
Yes.
Get
Next
them
time
from
I go to
Blake.
Michigan. Yes, get them from Blake. The next time I go to Michigan, I'm gonna try to sign up Barnes Noble. I'm just gonna take a photo in front of them. Like, I found it.
Wait,
I'm
which
a little
Barnes
Oh
and Noble is
visual.
it
man.
in?
It's
Yeah,
the
which
one
one?
in Holland, Michigan.
I'm gonna
So it's
drive
on
to
the west
Holland,
side. So you have
Michigan.
to venture into some to a very conservative area for my book. But
I'm gonna drive to Holland, Michigan. I have like one last note. I had so many notes, but we got like so many side topics.
we had so
But
many good talks though.
yeah, I do have one last note. I am upset at you. I tell this to all the authors. I'm upset at you, because the only thing that I didn't like about the book, and I say didn't like loosely, is that everything was so beautiful, and I'm reading and I'm reading and I'm reading and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see how she's gonna do in this
I know what
competition.
you're
Oh my
gonna say.
gosh, I can't wait to see how she's gonna do this. And then it's just like tail end credits, and I'm like, no, I want to know more. Like the fact that you just ended me on not a cliffhanger, like you closed all of the storylines, but I wanted to see my girl Izza like
Where's the
do the
Yeah.
aftercare?
things.
Where's the aftercare?
Yeah, like there was no aftercare. It was just like, oh, we're going over
I'm
for
so sorry.
Christmas, and I'm like, okay. And then I'm looking at the book and I'm like, I don't got that much left. What's happening? And then it goes, and then Izza did this, and then she did that, and then life was great. And I was like, I'm so happy that life was great, but excuse me, how did we?
You wanted to see
I
it.
want to
I
know.
wanted to see it lived out.
Yeah.
Truth be told, I definitely was tired towards the end. So maybe like I'll do a special edition and then all the epilogue stuff I'll flesh out
Ooh.
into actual
Ugh,
chapters.
Ooh, that would
if
be
you give me
fun.
that,
That would
I'll
be fun.
cry.
I
That
could
could be
I
my
could make that happen.
2027 Christmas gift.
I knew Blake was gonna
I'm
say that.
so flattered that you would accept that as a Christmas gift.
You said you knew I was going to say that?
Oh yeah, I knew you were gonna say that because we talked about that with Road too. It was like, we're like,
Yes.
why is it? Give me the comfort. I need to be in the story. I need to be eased out of the story. You can't take me into this and then take me out of it like that. Let me ease
No,
it
I'm
out.
pissed. And I can't eat like here's a hilarious part. I can't be pissed as an author. I can't be
Yeah.
pissed because if you
We
read
all
my
do this.
dystopian series, dude, if you read my dystopian series, I leave it like again, I don't like cliffhangers. I leave a couple doors open to like keep you interested or whatever. I don't do a lot of aftercare at the end of my I mean, it's dystopian. Dystopian doesn't have a lot of aftercare in general, but I don't do
Right.
a lot of aftercare, and I can't be mad. I mean, I can be mad,
I know I'm the
but I
same way.
can't be
Like
mad.
I definitely will be mad at things that other authors do that I also do.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
And I'll feel fully vindicated in those feelings.
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. We all do it. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us, Vera. Would you like to plug what you have coming next, where to find you,
Sure.
social media handle, all of that stuff?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It was really fun. I appreciated it so much. I have on the horizon for 2026 another novel in verse. It's even wilder than this one, or the ideas. It's basically Pride and Prejudice, modern retelling, set in the inner city, all black cast, and I gender swapped the Bennett sisters to be brothers, and they own a pizzeria and a mini mart. So it sounds absolute bananas, and but it made me so happy to write and a
I
little
got it.
scared because yeah, she's got VIP access, but it
Oh
was
no,
such a
how do I
great
get
thing
on
to
that
write.
list?
DM me your email and I'll add you to the
Okay,
list.
yes.
I think my link tree is just linked the link tree thing and it's Vera West, but it's got 3 R's in it because Vera West was already taken and then I'm a simple being, so I just added more R's until it got accepted. So we landed at 3. And so that's just the same everywhere, Instagram, threads. But
Perfect.
thanks so much.
Awesome.
Thank
Yes,
you so
thank you
much for
so
being.
much.
I
Yeah,
appreciate
this
Yeah.
you
is
both
great.
so much.
And
And Blake is
when that book,
actually, oh, I'm
oh, go
sorry,
for it.
what were you gonna say?
I was
I'm
just gonna
so
say when
excited
that
because
book releases. Gosh. This is our whole podcast. This is what we do the whole time. When that book releases, you'll have to come back on so that we can talk about it.
oh, I would love that. I would love
Yeah.
that. And I already like talked Blake into letting me send her like a promo box. Like I'm so excited for this swag box. I
I'm
don't
so
want to like
excited.
ruin it, but I'm gonna be sending it to you. I have small personal sized pizza boxes to send you the book in. And I just
Oh,
cannot
that is
like
so cute.
so I
I'm
yeah.
the ways that I
Yeah,
cannot
that's so
wait
cute.
to make this video. Last time I got a promo box, it was distasteful, but that's
Oh,
because
what a
no, that's
waste
just
of a
me.
promo box. Like,
No, like people think that like smut is like when you write smut or when you write like
oh yeah.
like romantasy that you have to lean all the way in and you have to like go to specific stores and get specific items and that it has to be very like phallic and everything. It's like no. I didn't want to feel like I was going to a bachelorette party
Yeah.
by reading your book. So, I'm excited. I also love doing unboxings. So,
I feel like you
I
are the
can't wait.
person to do an unboxing because you're so creative and good at it. I am so bad. I'll just open it, forget halfway through that I was gonna do an like I'm just like a mess, like a hot mess with it. But I'm so excited that you were open to let me send that to you. So I can't wait to get that sent to you.
I am so
Oh, I'm
excited as
excited.
well.
It's got like
Yay!
Lisa Frank vibes, and I don't know if you've seen the cover art, but it's very Lisa Frank. And I'm just like, oh, I
This is
love it so
so
much.
cute.
I love Elisa
Blake, you
Frank.
better post your video. I need to see that.
As soon as actually before you send it out, message me so I can send you my new
Okay.
address.
Okay, I'll
Um,
do that.
but I'm so excited. I also like I said, I've mentioned that me and TikTok have a interesting relationship, but I will 100%. I will that video will be normally my videos I push back in time because I'm aware that people are creepy on the internet. But that video I'm gonna post in real time. IRL in real life. Yeah, there we go. All right. But
Well,
thank you
thanks
so
again. I'll
much.
let you guys go. I could talk for years till I work from home, and this is like the most I miss adult conversations. So I'm just I'll just see myself
Okay.
out.
All right. Bye, Vera.
Bye. Thank you.